sections 62 to 81 of the Daodejing. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information and how to participate in this project, visit LibriVox.org. Daodejing by Laozi, translated by Richard Wilhelm. 62. The essence is the home of all things, the treasure of good people, the protection of the not good people. With beautiful words, one can go to the market. With honorable conduct, one can stand out among others. But why should we discard the not good among people? Therefore, the ruler is appointed, and the princes have their office. Even if one had scepters of jewels to send in a solemn procession of 4. It does not equal the gift when one presents this essence on their knees to the ruler. Why did the ancients value this essence so much? Is it not because it is said of it, "Whoever asks receives, and whoever has sins, they will be forgiven"? Therefore, it is the most precious on earth. 63. Whoever practices non-action, occupies themselves with idleness, finds pleasure in what does not taste good, sees the great in the small and the many in the few. They repay resentment with life. Plan the difficult where it is still easy. Do the great where it is still small. Everything heavy on earth always begins as light. Everything great on earth always begins as small. Therefore, the appointed one never does anything great, so they can complete their great deeds. Whoever promises lightly rarely keeps watch. Whoever takes many things lightly certainly has many difficulties. Therefore, the appointed one considers the difficulties, so they never have difficulties. 64. What is still calm can be easily grasped. What has not yet emerged can be easily contemplated. What is still tender can be easily broken. What is still small can be easily scattered. One must work on what is not yet there. One must arrange what is not yet in confusion. A tree of a gaping circumference arises from a hair-fine seed. A tower 9 stories high arises from a pile of earth. A journey of 1,000 miles begins at your feet. Whoever acts spoils it. Whoever clings loses it. Thus the appointed one. They do not act, so they spoil nothing. They do not cling, so they lose nothing. People go to their affairs, and whenever they are almost finished, they spoil it. Take care of the end just as of the beginning. Then there will be no spoiled things. Thus the appointed one. They wish for desirelessness. They do not value hard-to-obtain goods. They learn the non-learning. They turn back to what the crowd passes by. Thus they promote the natural course of things and dare not to act. 65. Those who were capable in ancient times in governing according to the essence did not do so by enlightening the people, but by keeping the people foolish. That the people are hard to lead comes from knowing too much. Therefore, whoever leads the state through knowledge is the robber of the state. Whoever does not lead the state through knowledge is the blessing of the state. Whoever knows these two things has an ideal. Always to know this ideal is hidden life. Hidden life is deep, far-reaching, different from all things. But in the end, it brings about great success. 66. That rivers and seas are kings of all streams comes from their ability to hold themselves well below. Therefore, they are the kings of all streams. Thus, the appointed one. If they want to stand above their people, they place themselves beneath them in their speech. If they want to go ahead of their people, they place themselves behind them in their person. Thus, they dwell in the height, and the people are not burdened by them. They dwell in the first place, and the people are not harmed by them. Thus, the whole world is willing to promote them and will not be unwilling. Because they do not contend, no one in the world can contend with them. 67. The whole world says my essence is indeed great, but so to speak, useless. Precisely because it is great, therefore it is so to speak, useless. If it were useful, it would have long since become small. I have 3 treasures that I cherish and protect. The first is love. The second is contentment. The third is not daring to stand out in the world. Through love, one can be brave. Through contentment, one can be open-hearted. If one does not dare to stand out in the world, one can be the head of the accomplished people. If one now wants to be brave without love, if one wants to be open-hearted without contentment, if one wants to advance without stepping back, that is death. If one has love in battle, one wins. If one has it in defense, one is invincible. Whom heaven wants to save, it protects through love. Whoever knows how to lead well is not warlike. Whoever knows how to fight well is not angry. Whoever knows how to defeat enemies does not fight with them. Whoever knows how to use people keeps themselves low. This is the life that does not contend. This is the power to use people. This is the pole that reaches to heaven. Among soldiers, there is a saying, I do not dare to make the Lord, but prefer to be the guest. I do not dare to advance an inch, but prefer to retreat a foot. This means to go without legs, to fence without arms, to throw without attacking, to hold without using weapons. There is no greater misfortune than to underestimate the enemy. If I underestimate the enemy, I am in danger of losing my treasures. Where two armies clash, the one who does it with a heavy heart wins. My words are very easy to understand, very easy to execute, but no one on earth can understand them, can execute them. The words have an ancestor, the deeds have a lord. Because one does not understand them, one does not understand me. It is precisely because I am so rarely understood that my value lies. Therefore, the appointed one goes in noble garments, but in their bosom they hide a jewel. 71. Not knowing knowledge is the highest. Not knowing what knowledge is a suffering. Only when one suffers under this suffering will one be free from suffering. That the appointed one does not suffer comes from the fact that they suffer from this suffering. Therefore, they do not suffer. If the people do not fear the terrible, then the great terror comes. Do not make their dwelling narrow and their life displeasing. For only by not living in narrowness will their life not be displeasing. Thus, the appointed one. They recognize themselves, but they do not want to appear. They love themselves, but they do not seek honor for themselves. They remove the other and take this. Whoever shows courage in recklessness perishes. Whoever shows courage without being reckless remains alive. Of these two, one type gains, the other suffers. But who knows the reason that heaven hates one? Thus, the appointed one. They see the difficulties. The essence of heaven does not contend and is yet good at winning. They do not speak and yet find a good answer. They do not beckon and yet everything comes by itself. They are calm and yet good at planning. The net of heaven is very wide meshed, but it loses nothing. If the people do not fear death, how can one intimidate them with death? But if I constantly keep the people in fear of death, and if someone does something strange, should I seize and kill them? Who dares to do that? There is always a death power that kills. To kill instead of this death power is like wanting to wield the axe instead of a carpenter. Whoever wants to wield the axe instead of the carpenter rarely gets away without injuring their hand. That the people are hungry comes from the fact that their superiors consume too many taxes. Therefore, they are hungry. That the people are hard to lead comes from the fact that their superiors do too much. Therefore, it is hard to lead. That the people take death too lightly comes from the fact that their superiors seek the abundance of life too abundantly. Therefore, they take death too lightly. But whoever does not act for the sake of life is better than the one for whom life is dear. 76. When a person enters life, they are soft and weak, and when they die, they are hard and strong. The plants, when they enter life, are soft and tender, and when they die, they are dry and stiff. Therefore, the hard and strong are companions of death, the soft and weak are companions of life. Therefore, weapons are strong, so they do not win. If trees are strong, they are felled. The strong and great are below, the soft and weak are above. 77. The essence of heaven, how does it resemble the bowstring? It presses down the high, it raises the low. What has too much, it reduces. What does not have enough, it supplements. The essence of heaven is to reduce what has too much, to supplement what does not have enough. The essence of man is not so. He reduces what does not have enough to give it to what has too much. But who is capable of bringing what they have too much to the world? Only the one who has the essence, thus also the appointed one. They act and do not keep. When the work is completed, they do not cling to it. They do not wish to show their significance before others. 70. In the whole world, there is nothing softer and weaker than water, and yet in the way it undermines the hard, nothing equals it. It cannot be changed by anything. The weak that defeats the strong, and the soft that defeats the hard, everyone knows on earth. But no one is able to act accordingly. Thus, an appointed one has said, whoever takes on the dirt of the realm is the lord of earth offerings. Whoever takes on the misfortune of the realm is the king of the world. True words are like turned around. 79. If one reconciles great resentment, and there is still resentment left, how would that be good? Therefore, the appointed one adheres to their duty and demands nothing from others. Therefore, whoever has life adheres to their duty. Whoever has no life adheres to their right. 80. A land may be small and its inhabitants few. Tools that multiply human strength should not be used. Let the people take death seriously and not travel far. Even if ships and carts are available, let there be no one who rides in them. Even if armor and weapons are there, let there be no one who unfolds them. Let the people again measure distances, tie knots, and use them instead of writing. 81. Make sweet their food and beautiful their clothing, peaceful their dwelling and joyful their customs. Neighboring lands may lie within sight of each other, so that the crowing of roosters and barking of dogs can be heard mutually. And yet the people should die in old age, without having traveled back and forth. 80. True words are not beautiful, beautiful words are not true. Capability does not persuade, persuasion is not capable. The wise is not learned, the learned is not wise. The appointed one does not accumulate possessions. The more he does for others, the more he possesses. The more he gives to others, the more he has. The essence of heaven is to demand without harming. The essence of the appointed one is to act without contending. End of 81. End of the Daodejing by Laozi, translated by Richard Wilhelm.